I caught my dad cheating with my best friend and now he doesn't want me to tell my mom. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. Do you think my dad is a narcissist? Now my dad is very, very good looking. He's really fit and he's in his early 50s. He's that really annoying type of dad that anytime my girlfriends come over, he always comes downstairs, comes into the kitchen. Because he's always working out in the backyard, he takes off his shirt. A few weeks ago, I saw something that disturbed me. My best friend was over and I left her in the kitchen for a moment. When I came back into the kitchen, I saw her and my dad separate their hands really quickly. And I asked them what they were doing and they were acting so suspicious and nervous. When my dad left, I grilled my best friend and she swore nothing happened. Until a few days after that, I walk in on her sitting on his lap. At this point, they couldn't deny it. Said all they had done was hold hands and kiss. That's when my dad started begging me not to tell my mom. Can you imagine being put in that position? Babe, part 2 is up, go. Caught my dad cheating with my best friend and he doesn't want me to tell my mom. Now you decide if my dad is a narcissist. Claim this is not my story time, it was sending me on Instagram. Once they confessed to me that they had been together, they swore that they had only held hands and kissed. I don't believe that for a single second. Best friend is the type of girl that falls in love every single week with a new guy and gets obsessed. My dad begged me not to tell my mom and here's why I agreed. My mom is an amazing, amazing mom and wife. She owns a Pilates studio and she pays for the bills. My dad lost his job and then got really into fitness and he thought that he was going to be able to work at a gym, but he never really went through with it. My mom told him it's okay, I'll hold it down. You go do what you want. And a few days later, my best friend comes over without even telling me. And I find them in the kitchen cooking and kissing. My dad just figures because I know they're gonna be affectionate in front of me. Instead of breaking it off, they were rubbing it in my face. I jumped in the car and drove to my mom's Pilates studio. Part 3 is up. A narcissist dad is having an affair with my best friend and making out in the kitchen. I made the decision to go and tell my mom. I drove over to her, picked her up, and on the way I told her everything. She actually didn't believe me. She had so much blind faith in my dad that she didn't think he was capable of doing that. When we walk in the house, they're sitting on the couch hand in hand. She ends up kicking both of them out. We filed for a divorce the next day. And my dad is begging to come back. Now he doesn't have anybody to pay his bills. Remember, my dad has no money. So of course he's begging her to let him come back. And he broke up with my best friend. She's now depressed, but she totally deserves it.
What is the one thing a friend has to do to get cut off by you? I'll go first. So it was one girl in college that I really hit it off with. Came really close really fast. We had the same friend group. We were around the same people all the time. Everyone got along just right. And in college, I was really involved. I was an ambassador. I was in AITP. I was in NAACP. I was in BSU. LSU, not this one. She was involved just like me, but she wasn't in the same involvement groups that I was in. So as I started getting involved in these groups, obviously the more events that happened on campus and the more involved that I was in, I didn't want her to feel abandonment. So I wanted to bring her with me as much as possible. So the event happened and I brought her over. I introduced her to everybody. So it was time to play card games. So we all sat at the table together and we were playing Uno. It was a cool little mixture of people. And of course, there was boys at the table. But mind you, we have the same friend groups. We've been around the same guys before. I would never expect her to do what she's about to do. So this guy came and sat by me and of course he was flirting. He was trying to holler or whatever. I wasn't paying any mind because I was already talking to someone at the time. So fast forward, the vibes was going. The cards were going, and so was this girl's mouth. She would not stop talking about my business and what I was doing at this table with like 15, 20 other people. And it started off subtle. It was like, oh, Jenna, are you still going over Jenna, how did it go with Professor da-da-da? I know you felt that test. I'm like, girl, like, what's your problem? She just would not stop, but I let it slide because maybe she's just excited. Maybe she's just, I don't know. But what crossed the line for me is when she was just getting aggressive. What do you mean by that, Jenna? Like, if I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe y'all picked 4 with me. Girl, shut the what are you talking about? And this girl doesn't even curse. I would make a joke and be like, aha, you forgot to say Uno out. And she'll be like, stop playing with me. I'm looking like, hold on. Things got extremely awkward because everybody's looking like, aren't y'all supposed to be friends? Like, or they didn't know whether to laugh or to be scared because she was really doing a lot. You would not think that we were friends when you walked in that room. To me, this was her showing off at this point because I'm like, girl, you don't even talk like this and you not like this. So why are you trying to act like this? Is there a guy you like in here? And lo and behold, it was. So then we move on to the cup game. You know, the head, shoulders, toes, and you grab the cup. That's what we did. So the game was going and of course her and I were partners and we teamed up against each other. So they started calling the calls, head, shoulders, elbows, cup. And I lost, she won because she grabbed the cup before me, obviously. And when I tell y'all this girl got in my face, yeah, get it, yeah. But she was overdoing it. She was spitting in my face. Like, that's how bad it was. It was to a point where our homeboys was like, whoa, like, y'all good? Like, what's up? It was so awkward. I was like, yeah, are you good? Like, what's up? girl, I was just playing with you. What you mean? And I'm like, no. And at this point, I'm like, nah, you was playing. We were at Uno and you was telling my business. You was playing at Uno when you was embarrassing me in front of these guys. You were playing in my face when you got in my face. Like, it's all these I'm playing. When in reality, you've never played like this with the year and a half we've been friends. So what's really going on? Y'all, by the end of that night, everybody knew who I was talking to, what classes I was failing, where I lived, what I was crying about last week. Like, everybody knew my business because of this girl. And I was like, wow. Like, I was baffled, flabbergasted, discombobulated, and combusted. Mind you, there was no alcohol at this event. So she was not acting like this because she was tipsy. This was a school-funded organization event. There was no alcohol. So we get in the car and she tries to act normal. Like, this is the friend that I remember driving here with. Talking like she didn't just tell all of my business and embarrass me to the fullest at this event. At this point, I knew what she was doing. She liked a few guys in there. She was showing off. Like, I get it, but at the end of the day, that's not how you do that. Honestly, I wasn't even mad that she did all that. It was the fact that it came out in front of all these people and I felt like you did it on purpose. I was also shocked to know that this was a completely different side of you that I've never even met before. Even though we've been around guys together, we've been around the same friend group. I would never act like that around other people, and I would never act like that when you're introducing me to someone, especially at an event that you work at. I didn't completely cut her off. I definitely kept her at a distance, but I for sure would never and have never invited her to another event or brought her around anyone else because I just felt like that was too much. Because peep, she didn't talk about my accomplishments or talk about anything else. She talked about everything that was happening bad in my life. And to me, you were waiting for the opportunity to say that. Y'all let me know. But until next time, peace, love, and applesauce.
Story time on how when I was in 4th grade, the custodian / janitor at my school was trying to date me. I'm always really late to the trends, but this is my first time eating one of these. So basically, there was this janitor at my school, and there would be times where, like, I was with my friends and eating and stuff, and he would come up to me and, like, whisper something in my ear. And honestly, I was in 4th grade, so I don't remember what he was talking about, but I remember my friends thinking, like, who is that? That's weird. And I just kind of was like, oh, he's just a friend. He's just being friendly, you know? It got to the point where, like, when the kids would leave the multi-purpose room or the cafeteria, he would want me to stay and, like, hang out with him. You know, little me, I would. We had these, like, big sweepers. Like, they were, like, long, and it had like a long pole. We would, like, you know, take one half and we'd start racing and stuff. Then, like, when we would get the supplies from his, like, little janitor closet in the cafeteria, he would, like, close the door and talk to me privately, which is such a red flag, but I didn't see that when I was a kid. And I should have realized that he was closing the door because he didn't want anyone else to see that was in there with him alone, or that was in there in general. He's definitely not supposed to be hanging out with little 4th graders during his job. I got to the point where he was, like, walking me to my class and stuff. I was leaving class one time, and one of the teachers saw him holding my hand and reported it. And honestly, I didn't even realize, but I think he either got fired or he just stopped coming around.